Hey guys, it's Kay from KS Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/PettyRevenge, How I Annoyed My Bully. First off, let me start by reminding everyone that the 90s were a different time. I had been bullied both verbally and physically since middle school by a peer of mine. We'll call him Richard. Richard was bigger than me the entire time I knew him, and his parents were rich, by their son out of trouble rich. He also played sports and was much loved by the faculty. As such, anytime I tried to do something about my tormentor, no adult would take my side, and most of my peers were too intimidated to do anything either. At the age of 16, Richard was gifted with a classic 70s style car. I don't know cars, don't ask what kind. All I know is it kind of looked like Vin Diesel's car in the first Fast and Furious movie, just a sparkly orange color. He was proud of it and showed it off to everyone, even raving about the chrome wheels and chrome valve stem caps. I'm not sure if that's what they're called, but hopefully you know what I mean. Meanwhile, my not-so-rich tiny self had to walk or ride my bike everywhere. One night, I was walking home from a friend's house and took a different route home. As I passed a side road, I immediately spotted Richard's beloved orange car parked against a curb. I wasn't sure if that was his house, but it sure was his car. Knowing, however, that this would simply make him a victim and me a criminal, I opted for something less drastic. Thinking quickly and looking around to ensure there were no witnesses, I unscrewed one of his chrome valve stem caps and shoved a small pebble in it. I then screwed it back on the valve stem, hoped that it would empty the air out of his tires, and went on my merry way, pleased that I had at least tried something. Days later, I actually heard through the rumor mill that Richard's tire had kept going flat. It happened at school, so people knew. He had taken it to get replaced, and that expensive cap had been put on the new tire, and that too had gone flat. Nobody who knows Richard knows what I did, and I never found out when the problem was corrected, and the bullying didn't stop until I left high school and never saw him again. But at least I did one thing to make his life miserable, and that was enough to make me smile. That's actually kind of hilarious, because it's like a constant, obnoxious, annoying problem, and like... At least it didn't cause more, repercussions than there already were. I mean, it didn't stop the bullying, obviously, because, it was just an annoying thing that was happening to him. But, knowing that you were, almost passively annoying the crap out of him and inconveniencing his life as well without, getting into, legal trouble or something, it's a good one. I like this petty revenge. Won't clean up after yourself in the kitchen? I'll bring it to your room. College student here, living in an apartment of 5 guys. For the most part, we all get along and are good friends. However, there is one of us who frequently uses the kitchen, always leaves a huge mess, and never cleans it up. The rest of us have brought up the issue multiple times, and he always just brushes it off. Well, me and one of my other roommates finally had enough and decided to take matters into our own hands. We decided to do a deep clean of the kitchen, except instead of throwing away the trash, we threw it in his room. If he won't clean the kitchen, let's see if he'll clean his room. Update. The dude doesn't even realize we put trash in his room, lol. I also found a bug in the kitchen and slid it into his room for good measure. Kinda sad that I'm not gonna get a reaction, though. Okay, first of all, how did he not notice that there's a crap ton of trash in his room? And also, you do know that bugs don't just stay in one room, right? It's gonna probably come to bite you in the butt, possibly literally. That's gross. I'm not sure if I want to know what kind of bug it is, but I have a bad feeling I might know based off of the mess. Oh, that's nasty. Don't do that. Okay, fine. Put the trash in there if you want to. I get it. But the bug. I draw the line at the bug. Because that's gonna screw everyone over. Because if those little, evil things live, they manage somehow to find another one to reproduce with. I'm just saying, it's not good for you in the long run. Verbally abuse your coworkers and injure your trainee? Security will take care of you. Hi, everyone. I've been told that this subreddit would be more appropriate for this kind of story, so I hope that you guys will enjoy it. If it isn't appropriate for the sub, mods, please remove it. Put your seatbelts on, because this is going to be a long read. We'll post a TLDR for those who don't have the time. A bit of background. I live in a mining town in the great land of moose, black bears, and poutine. I don't know how to say words. I'm sorry. Our town is surrounded by 3 different mining companies since our land is rich in precious metals. Basically, over half of the people in our town works in these mines at some capacity, whether directly or as a contractor. I took a job in late November 2015, pre-COVID, as a janitor after leaving my security job because I found it too boring and wanted a job where the work is more active and the pay is a little better. First day on the job, training for night shift. I was introduced to my coworker, who we'll call Stickman. Stickman was an old guy in his late 60s, has a rather large bald spot on top of his head with gray hair that he ties up in a small ponytail, and wears those old 70s-looking glasses that he wears indoors and outdoors almost year-round. I don't ask why, because I don't know. It was obvious from the start that he didn't take to me very kindly and was rather cold to me throughout the day, only ever spoke to me when he wanted to teach me something or do something. I've made attempts to break the ice by starting a casual conversation or share one of my beverages, but no dice. He either ends the conversation quickly or doesn't answer me at all. Whatever, I tell myself, we'll be on opposite shifts anyway, so we'll be out of each other's way. The night shift was overwhelming. Every single night, first thing during a shift, I'd have to clean the men's dry, which is where underground miners go and change into their work clothes, hang their wet clothes, and shower after each shift. It's a huge area of the main building, incredibly dirty, with dirt everywhere after each crew, and it stays at a constant 30 degrees Celsius. I would be sweating buckets each night, especially when I'm cleaning the showers, since the water I was using is hot water. And the showers are in an enclosed space, so it gets humid very quickly. There's 4 of them in total. In total, it would take me around 6 hours every night to clean it, but that's only 1/3 of the job, and the dry takes place on the 2nd floor of the main building. I had the entire main floor to clean, and the main floor itself is a 12-hour job to properly clean in a 12-hour shift. As you may have figured, it is humanly impossible for a single individual to clean the entire dry and the main floor for each and every single night. I've relayed this to my supervisor, who we will call Awesome Boss or AB, who simply told me to just do the best I can, as their contract with the mine won't allow them to hire a second night shift janitor. Something about a fixed amount of money agreed on in their contract. I managed to come up with a routine that'll allow me to do the bare minimum of cleaning for each room while simultaneously set aside days to allow myself to do a full cleanup of certain areas, as well as use my experience as a security guard to document everything I've done and time-stamped when I've done them, including my break times, and that seemed to work for the mine management and AB, but not Stickman. Stickman had made it his personal goal every morning to walk around the main floor and then hunt me down to complain about every single thing that I didn't have time to do. He'll complain to me about things like bottom fill in a large garbage can, dust on the desks, sand on the carpets, offices that were not done due to lack of time, and other things that would eventually get done on the nights I set aside to do. On some mornings, he'd get right in my face about it too. Needless to say, it had put a lot of unnecessary stress on me, on top of what I already have working what is essentially a 2-man job. Stickman would also constantly complain to AB, and AB would dismiss Stickman's claims and supported me and my documented notes as evidence. Regardless, I was a sensitive, non-confrontational soul back then, and I took Stickman's harsh criticisms personally, which made me break into tears one morning after one of my shifts after Stickman lost it on me and got in my face. Eventually, despite AB's dismissals and my documentations, he even badmouthed me to his coworkers, to which eventually they even started to approach me to get things I didn't have time to do done. They eventually stopped after I broke everything down with them step by step and backed everything up with my notes. Still, it made everything I don't enjoy about my job even less enjoyable, thanks to Stickman. This is the part of the story where I would like to add a new player into the mix, whom I'm going to refer to her as Cat Lady. I swear she's important to the story. Another tidbit of background info, Cat Lady is one of the security guards who works the night shift. I would give the guard special treatment during the nights. As they work, they get a lot of foot traffic, especially during the day, and a lot of foot traffic means a lot of sand. And they make a lot of garbage since these guards are stationed in their office 24/7. So I clean up the area and garbages for them every night so they can have a clean environment to work in. I often chat with the guards while I clean, and Cat Lady was one of them. I told them about Stickman and his verbal abuses toward me, and Cat Lady was the one who saw firsthand how Stickman was treating me. As for why I'm calling her Cat Lady, it's because she had a larger than average adorable cat. Larger than average as in he's just a bigger than your average house cat, not obese. Fast forward a bit, and AB finally put me on day shift on the opposite rotation of Stickmin. It was then that my female coworkers realized that I wasn't at all like what Stickmin painted me to be. And in fact, I was a better and hardworking person than Stickmin. It was then I began hearing some interesting things about Stickmin from the women he's worked with, such as keeping a secret stash of cleaning supplies, which explains why I sometimes start shifts with less cleaning supplies than I normally get, mixing bleach and other cleaning product, which essentially creates tear gas, which is a huge no-no in mine policy/safety, and our WIMS safety training highly advises against mixing chemicals, secretly sleeping on the job, which is both illegal and against mine policy, and of course, showing favoritism to the opposite gender. I relayed what I had heard from the girls to AB, but AB said that without hard evidence or documentation of these occurrences, there's nothing he can do. That was until the company had hired a young new female cleaner. She was a hard worker and was immediately paired with Stickmin to train as his new partner. We'll call her Bubbles due to her bubbly and energetic personality. Stickmin was given the task to train Bubbles on waxing the floors, as he is the only one who knows how to strip the old wax and put new wax on the floor. He never trained me since we don't get along. Now, in order to strip the old wax off the floors, you need a special chemical to strip away the old wax. However, the chemical in question is very corrosive and can severely burn skin on contact. Stickmin knew this, but decided to proceed with the process of stripping the old wax without PPE, personal protective equipment, despite risks. Worst case scenario happened, and Bubbles received a nasty chemical burn that got her hospitalized for chemical burn treatment. Bubbles recovered, thankfully. However, her knees were covered in scars that will never heal. Stickmin, however, was written up for this incident. Just so you know, in order for someone to be terminated without legal repercussions, the employee must be written up at least 3 times before they're terminated. This is strike 1 for Stickmin. Here's strike 2. We had hired a new guy, whom we'll just refer to him as New Guy. One of the female janitors volunteered to train New Guy, and Stickmin was temporarily placed at night shift. He absolutely hated it, and I had to use every ounce of being not to gloat at him in a I effing told you it was impossible kind of way, but the look of pure displeasure on his face was enough for me. One day, Stickmin blamed New Guy for something that he didn't do and got right in his face and yelled at him with eyewitnesses nearby. New Guy had kept his cool and let Stickmin finish his tirade before taking himself and his eyewitnesses to AB and then promptly quit soon after. Stickmin received his second write-up and a stern verbal warning from AB. The third and final nail in the coffin came from Cat Lady. It was during the time when I was needed to work the night shift, and Stickmin and Bubbles were together waxing the floors, with the appropriate PPE, of course. Stickmin was once again verbally hostile towards me, and Cat Lady witnessed the hostility towards me. I cannot say for certain if it made her blood boil, but it was enough for her to decide that Stickmin had to go. She then waited for a window of opportunity for Stickmin to once again screw up, and screw up big time, Stickmin did. As I previously mentioned, he had been smoking in undesignated areas, but the undesignated area I hadn't referred to specifically was the mechanic's shop. The mechanic's shop was in a separate building apart from the main building, and Cat Lady was waiting for an opportunity for Stickmin to go for a smoke break. And sure enough, she saw her opportunity when Stickmin left with Bubbles to go to the maintenance shop. Cat Lady grabbed her company-provided camera and followed Stickmin to the maintenance shop and snapped the photograph with Stickmin caught red-handed smoking in the shop. Stickmin had noticed Cat Lady taking the damning photograph and pleaded with Cat Lady not to report him. Cat Lady ignored his pleas and filed the photograph in her incident report. Stickmin was immediately let go the following day. Last time I've heard from Stickmin was that he tried to collect money for severance pay but was promptly denied due to the overwhelming evidence against him, and he had also applied to a cleaning company that was our competitor at the time but was promptly refused and was forced to go on employment insurance. Good riddance, I'd say. I do find it amusing that Cat Lady was particularly just you know what? I'm gonna do it. I know what you do, but now I'm just gonna, I don't like you anymore. You know, I don't like you, I didn't like you, but I really, really don't like you. And now I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna take a picture of you doing the thing that everybody knows you do that you shouldn't be doing. Now that also makes me wonder though, is that their job normally, to catch when people are doing stuff that violates law or violates code or whatever, as part of her job? Because if it is, why didn't she catch it before? Or was she just kind of chill and didn't want to bother with it? I don't know. I also feel really bad for Bubbles because can you imagine training at your new job and you're supposed to trust this person to train you and they pretty much cause you to have some kind of disfigurement to your body for the rest of your life, having scarring on your knees for the rest of your life because they were lazy and you didn't know what you were supposed to do, or they probably were like, oh, we don't have to. I didn't really bother with it. Like, that's really frustrating. I'm surprised that level of incidents didn't get him fired immediately. I get the whole 3 times thing, but she was literally, it's just so extreme. It's so extreme compared to like the other things, which yeah, they were bad, but like, that was really freaking bad, and I'm just surprised he was able to keep his job for that. But anyway, good job on that. Nice story there, and I guess it was revenge. I don't know how petty it was, but it still counts, I feel like. Anyway, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and drop a like, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Real quick, I'd like to thank my patrons. Up on the screen, you should see my face palmers and my crazy case. Thank you all so much for supporting me in the way that you do. And sorry everyone for my gaps in uploads here. Recently especially, school has just been a thing that I don't think I'm great at time management in general, and apparently I've been not managing time well. So along with midterms having happened this week, I have another one to take tomorrow. But I wanted to get something out to you guys. Again, apologize for the delay. Thank you all for supporting me, whether it's as patrons or as viewers. And I hope that you're having a wonderful week and day. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!